Most baitcast reels under $100 are absolute garbage. However, does the Abu Garcia Max STX baitcast reel fall into that same category? Let's find out in today's video. First, let's go over the specs on the exact reel that I have right here. So this one right here, this is the left-handed model. The gear ratio on this guy is 6.4 to 1. The max drag is 15 pounds. Bearings is coming in at 6. Weight is 7.4 ounces. Mono capacity is going to be 120 yards of 12-pound test. And the MSRP at the time of making this video is $79.99. Now, Abu Garcia has a bunch of the features on this reel listed on their website, but I am going to just list some of the main ones here, some of the ones I think are the most important, and that is the machined aluminum spool. They have the power disc drag system. They've got the MagTrax brake system, large co-molded soft touch knobs, and the flip and switch, which we will talk about here in a little bit. Now, as for versatility goes, this is mainly a bass fishing reel. I'm sure there's a certain couple other applications you could use this for, but this is mainly a bass fishing reel. Specifically, this would work very well in certain situations because of that flip and switch. So as you guys know on a baitcaster, right? Typically, you click open your spool, it moves, right? And then you click that over and it stops it. However, the flip and switch, when you click it down and let go, it comes right back up. And this is for certain situations, specifically when you're flipping and pitching, right? When you're able to, if you say you flip a line out there, flip your bait out and you want to let some more line up so that the bait can sink, right? All you do is done. That way you instead, right, you would have to go like this. You'd have to click it up top, and then click it back down again. So much easier doing the flipping feature. You just boom. You let out line every single time, which is super cool when you're flipping. That is so much more efficient using that way versus just your standard baitcaster. Now, the flipping feature on this is just a small little switch here. What's nice is they put it in a spot where it's not really in the way at all. Typically, your hand, right? Your hand goes over the top of that right side of the reel. If you're if you reel right-handed, it's going to be the flipping switch will be right here. So it doesn't get in the way at all as you're casting, and it's actually very easy just with your hand to make that switch whenever you want right here, which is nice. So it doesn't get in your way at all. That was my worry on that flipping, that flipping feature, but it doesn't get in the way, which is really nice. Now that 6.4 to 1 gear ratio, that's the only gear ratio you get on this reel. You don't get anything faster. It's the same thing with the Abu Garcia Max X. The Max Pro is a little higher. I believe that one is a 7.2 to 1. However, with a 6.4 to 1, there is certain situations you're going to be a little more limited on. I like a faster gear ratio personally for things like top water, for certain situations where I need to burn a bait back in real quick and get it right back out somewhere. I prefer to have somewhere between a 7 to 8. Somewhere in that range. So, if you're wanting something where you need a higher gear ratio, unfortunately, this reel does not come in another speed for you. However, that flipping feature is awesome. There's not a lot of reels on the market that have that, and some of the other ones that do are really bad quality. So I'm happy there's now a decent quality reel for a low price point that has that flipping feature. As for durability goes, this has a one-piece graphite frame, the same as the other Abu Max models in this lineup. It doesn't feel super, super sensitive. It doesn't feel like super cheap in your hands. It doesn't feel like you could just drop it and it would immediately break. It feels pretty durable in your hands, which I think is a big plus on that. Now, as far as casting goes, it casts great for the money. Is it going to cast like a higher end reel? No, it's just not going to give you that same level of casting as some of your higher end stuff. But for $80, I think this thing does a great job. A lot of those cheaper baitcast reels, I would include this in that list. The braking on the side doesn't make a huge difference in my opinion. When you get this reel out of the box, I would immediately set your brakes, your side plate brakes here, immediately set that to max, and then just worry about the spool tension knob. Anytime I start messing around with with that on your cheaper sub $100 baitcast reels, it really just creates so much more of a hassle. So just set that to max and then worry about your spool tension knob, you know, and let the spool tension knob do most of the work for you. That's my personal thoughts on this, and there's a lot of other fishermen that do agree with that as well. Now, the Abu Garcia Max Pro, which is, I believe, $110 or $100, somewhere in that range right there. It is a little bit of a step up from this because it does have 2 more bearings than this does. So you are probably going to get a little bit smoother, a little bit better casting, just overall a little bit better of a quality reel. But you do pay for that as well. Now, as for the looks and the feel, I actually really do like the orange accents on this reel. I like the black and gray as well here on the side plates. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of, I don't really like when they make the knobs like a weird color. I'm not a huge fan of the orange knobs here. I know they're supposed to be like a soft co-molded, you know, easy to use all day, but I personally like more of the look of the Shimano and Daiwas. They just have those nice, thin, sleek looking black handles, the little knobs. I love that a lot more than this. It's not a huge deal on this. I do like the orange overall. I love that orange accent on the side plate here. The STX lettering is orange. I really do like the look of it. I think it looks cool. Especially for an $80 reel. It is a little heavy, coming in at 7.4 ounces, but like I said before on another thing on this, right, it's an $80 reel, so you're not going to get all the good stuff packed into one reel, you know, but it does feel good in your hands. It is pretty comfortable. Sits pretty low to the rod, so it's nice. You can use it all day. You're not really fatigued too much. It feels very nice for an $80 reel. Now, as for price here, there's not a lot of baitcast reels on the market under $100 that I think are a good choice to have. I just did a video on my favorite baitcast reels under $100, and I had to filter out a lot of bad products to find the ones that I truly believe in. And this is one of those that actually made that list. I do think under $100, I don't think this is a bad buy. I think if you've got just an extra $50, I think you can get a reel that is so much better than this. But if a sub 100 is your budget and that's all you want to spend, I think this is a great choice. I really do. Even like the Shimano SLX is like a 10 or 20 bucks more than this. I think that's an even a better selection as well. But Abu does have a combo they make on this. They make like the Max STX combo, and I believe that's like 120 bucks or something. For a $120 combo, that's not a bad setup. I actually think that that's a pretty good choice for someone that's just entering into baitcasters. They don't want to go real expensive. They just kind of want to see if they like it. I don't think that's the worst setup you could get. I really do think it's a pretty decent quality, you know, combo for the money. Let's go over the pros and cons of this reel. Now, as for the pros here, durability, I do think that one-piece graphite frame is going to give you a lot of good durability. It's got 6 bearings, which is more than the Abu Max X. It's got that flipping feature. That is a very niche kind of specific feature. There's not a lot of reels that have that, so it's kind of nice that it does have it, and it has an off feature, so you don't always have to use it, right? There's also the price. I think for $80, I mean, this is very market friendly in terms of bait casters go, especially bass fishing bait casters. So I think the price is pretty good as well there. As for cons, the handles, I'm not a huge fan of the knobs and just the handle in general. It feels a little cheap. And then that low gear ratio, I really wish they made this in more of like a 7:1 I think that would have been a better option, especially considering you have that flipping feature. And on flipping situations, I typically like a little bit higher gear ratio than a 6.4:1. I'm going to give this an overall rating of 7.5 out of 10. I think if you're needing that flipping feature and that's what you're getting this for, I think you could bump this up to probably an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10, just because that feature is so helpful for certain situations. For you guys that are flipping in heavy cover, I could see how that feature would help a lot. Fishing, I do a lot of open water, a lot of rocky, deep reservoirs, so I don't really need it as much, but I could see how that would be really helpful. I also think that price is awesome. That was a big reason why I rated this a decent number here. It does just feel a little bit cheaper compared to the Shimano SLX and a couple of those reels that are sitting at like 100 to 120, and that is why I did knock a couple points off on it. I have mentioned the Shimano SLX in this video a couple times. If you guys want to see the review on that reel, I've got it right here. If you want to see 10 baitcasters under $100 that I would recommend, this one is on that list, actually. I will have it right here for you guys. Hopefully you guys got a kick out of today's episode. We'll see you guys next time on Humbug Videos.